You are watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. The Giants wrapped up OTA practice number 5 today. They had OTA practice number 4 on Tuesday. So in today's show, we're going to break down both of those practices. We'll go through some of the news and notes, some of the highlights, touchdowns, and maybe even some depth chart changes in today's show. We're going to break it down. But first, if you want more Giants OTA videos, because I like doing these videos. I actually like talking about football. I know we do a lot of news and rumors videos, but when we get to talk about what happens on the gridiron, that fires me up. So if you want more of that, go down right now and hit that thumbs up icon. Let's get to 1,000 likes. Let's make it happen. So the first news bit, I would say, of the day is that Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams were at OTAs on Wednesday. They had not been present at OTAs so far. They weren't there the first 4 sessions, but they were there today. I wasn't happy they weren't there, but I wasn't mad that they weren't there. I would have liked for Dexter Lawrence to be there after he just got a 4-year, $90 million contract. And with Leonard Williams being one of the highest paid players in the NFL, over a $30 million cap hit for him this year, I would have liked for them to be there. But they are now, so that is a good thing. 2 guys that are definitely leaders. Glad they were at practice today. The biggest news of the day, though, centers around the Giants' first-round draft pick. Pick number 24, Deonte Banks. The early part of OTAs, he had been working with that second-team defense as that outside corner, but not today at Wednesday's practice. He has cemented himself as the CB2 on the opposite side of Adoree Jackson, and that's what you like to see. You like to see your young guys, your first-round, second-round draft picks, get that early work and get those reps under their belts. This defense is complicated under Wink Martindale, but the fact that Banks here in May is getting those reps is going to be huge for his development in his rookie year. I am excited about Tay Banks being that starting outside corner this year. Another young player emerging into a starting role, and a lot of you guys told me Cor'Dale Flott wasn't a slot corner. I'm calling him Cor'Dale Slot because that is where he is going to play this year. The 3rd-round pick out of LSU last year. Played mainly on the boundary in the 2022 season, but he flashed in the slot, I thought. That pass breakup on KJ Osborne in the playoffs to pretty much cement the win for the New York Giants. He got the starting slot corner reps on Wednesday's practice. And if you could have a 3rd-round pick in the slot from 2022, Deonte Banks, your outside corner, starter, 1st-round pick. Then you got Adoree Jackson on the other side. That's 3 talented players, and that's going to be a much better defensive backfield than the Giants had last year. We went from good to bad because Amani Oruwariye, who was signed by the New York Giants during NFL free agency, according to reports, has struggled mightily. He actually started camp as that starting outside corner next to Adoree Jackson, but he has found himself in the second team now and is no longer the starting corner. I mean, when you look at this depth chart, I still have Darnay Holmes right now as the starter. I may have to change that. No, with Cor'Dale Flott getting these starting reps. He was the guy that was getting them. That being Holmes getting those reps early on in camp. Now it sounds like Flott might be that guy. But you got Jackson, you got Banks on the outside. It's going to be a dogfight between Darnay Holmes, Cor'Dale Flott, and even Aaron Robinson, I think, is going to get a chance to be in that slot position. We're going to talk about Nick McCloud as well because he doesn't just play corner for this team, it sounds like. We'll talk about that. But first, I want you guys to pick a slot cornerback. Who do you want in the slot guarding those slot wide receivers this year? Is it Darnay Holmes? Is it the 2nd-year player Cor'Dale Flott? Or is it the guy that got hurt last year but impressed in his rookie season 2 years ago? Type their initials down in the comments with the one you're rocking with. Nick McCloud, a guy that played predominantly in the slot last year for the Giants, played on the outside as well, was getting safety reps with the first team defense today. And that is definitely a new development. Adoree Jackson referred to Nick McCloud as a Swiss Army knife. And when you can have a player that could play in the slot, that could play on the outside, and even has the ability to play in the box and deep like McCloud was at practice today, that is a good thing, no doubt about it. McCloud obviously has those connections to Buffalo dating back to his days with Brian Dable and Joe Schoen. When you look at his safety depth chart, I don't have Nick McCloud on there because it was the first day he was getting safety reps. But I believe that spot next to McKinney is up for grabs. And it's going to be between Belton, Owens, McCain, Pinnock, and maybe even McCloud at this point. Let the best man win. That's what happens here in the summer. Competition breeds great results. That's what I'm expecting out of this safety depth chart. A little bit of injury news right here. A'Shawn Robinson, who was signed by the New York Giants, I guess it was about a month and a half ago, is still rehabbing from that torn meniscus that he suffered last year. He was on the side with the rehab group. Sounds weird to call him that, but the guys that are just rehabbing from injuries like Darian Beavers and Wan'Dale Robinson and Sterling Shepard. Nothing to worry about with A'Shawn Robinson, just a part of his rehab. Look, Giants didn't pay him $5 million to be on the PUP list. He's going to be ready to go week one. I can guarantee you that, and I'm ready to see that beef on the interior defensive line. I think it's going to be a strong point for the G-men this year. We're going to shift to day 2, or I guess it would be day 5. Wednesday's notes from practice is coming up in a second. But first, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel because we are getting closer and closer to a milestone here on the channel. Just over 250 subs away from 29,000. I remember when we were less than 1,000 subs on this channel. So help us get there. Help us reach our goal. We're trying to get there by the end of the week. Sub for Giants Dubs. On Tuesday, Jalin Hyatt had 2 touchdowns. Caught a touchdown at the beginning of practice. Then on the last play of practice in 7-on-7s, he caught a touchdown. They were calling it a walk-off touchdown. And that's great for Jalin Hyatt. But the thing is, neither of those touchdowns were actually thrown by Daniel Jones. And Jalin Hyatt really hasn't gotten many reps with the first offense. And that's not something I'm going to overreact about. Darius Slayton talked about that and said he's been really impressed with Jalin Hyatt, He's run routes really well. He's shown great hands. He's shown great versatility. Obviously, the speed is going to pop off the page. But what Slayton said I thought really hit home. He said this offense is not easy to pick up. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that you have to learn to get ready to go. I think the Giants are just kind of slowly getting Jalin Hyatt ready to go in the NFL. I think he's going to be a big player this year. I like the fact that him and Daniel Jones are staying after practice. Despite them not getting to work in between the white lines on the football field when OTAs are going on, Daniel Jones is staying after practice, putting Jalin Hyatt right under his wing, getting reps after practice. There was a report from Dan Duggan that they stayed after practice. They kept on working on this 17, 18-yard out route. Then Daniel Jones even walked through the footwork of how Hyatt should run that route. You like to see that. That's what a franchise quarterback does. He takes the young players under their wings, and he gets them the work that they need. Big vote of confidence right there for Hyatt and Daniel Jones. Isaiah Hodgins also caught a touchdown on Tuesday, and he was also a factor in practice on Wednesday, and we'll break that down. But you'd love to see that the relationship, the connection, and the chemistry between Hodgins and Jones continues to elevate because at the end of the season, especially in those 2 games against the Vikings, you saw that connection between Hodgins and Jones, and it was deadly, asked Patrick Peterson. On Wednesday, though, the star of the show was the $40 million quarterback, Daniel Jones. He threw not 1, not 2, but 3 straight touchdowns on consecutive plays to Parris Campbell, Darius Slayton, and his go-to buddy, Isaiah Hodgins. That's what you like to see. You like to see your quarterback taking care of the football. I believe that's 4 practices in a row. The Giants have not had a turnover with that first-team offense. That's what you want to see. When Jones takes care of the ball, he's going to get you wins. That's always been a bugaboo for him, but he solved that last year. Giants were in the playoffs, and the fact is he's got better weapons than he ever has, and I'm excited to see what number 8 is going to do this year. I love what Adoree Jackson had to say about the Giants offense. He was asked about what's the difference. He sung the praises of Darren Waller. He was talking about how big of a catch radius Darren Waller has, and a lot of people are talking about Darren Waller. But Adoree Jackson was asked about the offense, and he said, this offense is fast. And you can tell during the offseason, not just at the offensive spot, on the defensive spot, everywhere on the football field, Joe Shane wanted to make this team faster, and he talked about that in the offseason. And the moves they made at receiver definitely show that they were prioritizing speed. Parris Campbell, 4.4 guy. Darius Slayton, 4.4 guy. Jalin Hyatt, extremely fast. Bryce Ford-Wheaton, I know you guys love him, is extremely fast. But the Giants, like Darius Slayton said, have some Ferraris now at the wide receiver position, and they need to let them loose and go out on the track and get moving, and they can do that. They have some burners, and I like the mix that they have. You got your veteran slot guys in Shepard and Crowder. You got your big body receivers in Isaiah Hodgins and Colin Johnson. You got your speedsters in Slayton, Campbell, and Hyatt. You got a whole bunch of versatility on this roster. It is going to be hard to decide which 7 or 6 make the roster. That is going to be an interesting storyline this summer. But I want you guys to rub your crystal balls together and predict the future. Pause. Oh, my God. What wide receiver on the Giants will have the most touchdowns? Be a genie. Predict it. Which wide receiver is going to have the most touchdowns? If I had to guess, I'm going to go with Hodgins. I got Hodgins as my wide receiver one. I know some people don't like that, but maybe you need to watch some more ball. Hodgins. Give me Isaiah Hodgins. We do have a deal, though, for you guys today. You can get 2 Giants t-shirts for just $30. Not even $30. $29.99. Save yourself that penny and don't spend it all in one place. Just go to chatsports.com/GiantsCombo. Chatsports.com/GiantsCombo and get these 2 sick Giants shirts. Mine are already on the way, and the deal's not going to last forever. So take advantage of it right now with this link. It's clickable in the comments and description. Chatsports.com/GiantsCombo. I like what Kayvon Thibodeaux, and we'll close out the show with a couple more points. Kayvon Thibodeaux was speaking to the media after practice, and he said, I left a lot of space to grow. And he talked about how he wanted to be better at finishing his pass rushes, how he wants to actually not just get QB pressures and QB hits, but get sacks. He talked about how in his rookie season he had a sack number that he wanted to reach, and he said, I'm not doing that this year because he felt like when you go 3 or 4 games without a sack, you're just worrying about that when you need to be finding other ways to affect the game. And I think Kayvon Thibodeaux is primed to have a standout season this year. I think he could become one of the best pass rushers in the NFL down the line, and this year will be a big step for him. I'm expecting number 5 to be a game changer for this defense. Daniel Bellinger, a guy that's kind of been lost in the shuffle because we've been talking about Darren Waller so much. Bellinger's had a good camp as well. He had a big catch on Tuesday down the middle of the field, and he's going to continue to be a big part of this offense. I'm expecting Darren Waller and Daniel Bellinger to be playing together on the field at the same time, and I think it's going to work out really well for the New York Giants. I do want to close with this right here. Could the Giants cut Darnay Holmes? Because at OTAs, if he's not going to be your starting slot corner, and you have Cor'Dale Flott, and you got Aaron Robinson, you got Nick McCloud, do you need to keep Darnay Holmes on this roster when he's making almost $3 million? You could cut him and save nearly $3 million. That's a storyline that I'm going to keep my eyes on, no doubt about it. I think Holmes is a good player. It just matters if the production meets the price point going forward. I would keep him. You can never have too many corners, but that's probably why I'm not a GM. Joe Shane is going to make that call. As always, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you want to find out more about the latest Giants news and rumors, you can hit me up over on Twitter. Let me check this article real quick from OTAs. Sounds like Parris Campbell had a really good day. Once again, could have had a touchdown, turned it up the sideline. Khalil Pimpleton has been popping off the screen, according to some people. Sterling Shepard was working on the side. Colin Johnson made a sweet toe tap catch on the sideline from Tyrod Taylor. Keep your eyes on Colin Johnson. I think he's going to really fight to make this roster. And the play of the day, according to Dan Duggan, was with the ball near the goal line. Hodgins broke wide open in the back of the end zone with the juke of safety Xavier McKinney. Jones was late to recognize the open receiver, but still got the ball to Hodgins for a touchdown before McKinney could recover. Hodgins doesn't have the speed of many of the Giants' new weapons, but he's a deadly route runner. Isaiah Hodgins, he's going to be a beast. We'll see you later. Go Giants.